Hi everybody, welcome back to Incubation Technology. We are continuing the series where we will get to know what and all should be included before starting a research work of your own. In this series, this is my third video. In the last video, we discussed about what is a plagiarism, how to overcome it, what and all the platforms to check the plagiarism content, and so on and so forth. Every detailed information about the plagiarism check. In today's video, we will be seeing about review papers. I'll be telling you what is a review paper, how to start writing a review paper, and what and all should be included in a review paper, and how it is different from an actual research paper, and all the Q&As you frequently come across while dealing with a review paper. Every detailed information will be covered in this video. As you see, the review paper is the very beginning step in order to get into the research world. Before you or before me, even I, before publishing my actual research paper, I started with writing a review paper. Okay, this is the very beginning step in order to dig into the research world. Let's get started with the video. As you see, as I told you, there are two ways to dig into this research world. One is with starting an actual review paper or with an actual research paper. It is good for a beginner, for a non-researcher background people to go start with the review paper, because we will be gathering more and more lots and lots of information on the particular field which is being opted by us, and then it is easy for us to get into the actual research, right? Yeah. There will be a question for everybody, what is a review paper, right? How it is different from an actual research work carried. This will be a common question. Let me address this to you all. A review paper is nothing but the summary of other research papers, right? See, those who have missed the first video, have a look into it. Before you starting a research paper, you need to go through at least some 20 to 30 research works which is already published by other researchers, right? Only if you do that, you will get an entire idea about the group, about the area you have selected, and is there a gap between the research, and every idea you will get a detailed blueprint of it, right? The review paper is nothing but the summary of other research papers, right? What are you doing here? You will be gathering some 20 to 30 papers. You will go through entire research papers and you will get a summary out of it, right? There will be a conclusion statement, right? You will get a concluding scene, right? You are just consolidating the information. You are just consolidating, meaning you are just considering, or you are just summarizing the information from other research papers, right? And you will be noting down in a separate format which is called as the review paper, right? This is an answer for what a review paper is. You will be studying some 30 to 35 papers. You will be gathering the summary out of it, right? You will be gathering the summary out of it, and you will be noting it down in a particular format, and that is called as a review paper. Keep in mind, you are not carrying any research of your own. If anybody asks you, is the information in your review paper your own research work, the answer from your side should be no. It is not your research work. You are just summarizing or consolidating the every information from the research work you have studied, right? See, along with the summary, you will also be providing the interpretation and analysis, your own interpretation and your own analysis on the information, right? On the other researchers' works you are going through, right? This is an entire answer for what a review paper is. I hope you're getting an idea. We need to analyze some key points before start writing a review paper. Let us see what and all the points needs to be considered. You will all get this question in mind, right? We till now saw what a review paper is and what actually a review paper will give us, the interpretation and analysis of all the research works. The next question in your mind should be what points to consider, what and all the points needs to be analyzed. That will be your second question, right? You need to have an idea about what you think about their research, right? You will be reading some 30 to 35 papers. You need to analyze this point. What do you think about their research? Like, is their research well defined? Is their research worth reading? Is their research worth writing it in your review paper? And do you think is there any gap in the research work? Gap in the research work meaning till some point of time a research will be done and there will be some 3-4 years of gap, and then the other technologies will be listed. You need to hold those 4 years gap, and you need to see why the field was not considered, like why there is a gap in it. Can I start a research on that? Okay, every information you need to analyze. The second thing is, how can you take the particular research work forward? Imagine you are reading some 10 papers. All the 10 papers are more or less the same. Okay, you need to either contradict to those research works, or you need to just take in some technologies, or you need to just continue their research. You need to analyze, can I do this? Can I take the research forward? Or is there any points that needs to be added or contradicted? Everything you have to analyze, right? The third most thing is how you encounter any gaps in their work. A couple of at 20-30 seconds back we discussed, no, if there is any gap in the research work, you have to address it, right? Only if you address it, your review paper will take a recognition, right? If you're not addressing the gap, if you're just blindly going on with the continuation, there would be no new idea in your research work. You need to address that gap, right? You need to address that gap. You need to think over it, if that gap can be covered, or if there are any new technologies added, will that research gap get connected? You have to think all these points. And the last is, are their publication good, right? You need to even think that not all the papers will get published. If you consider my situation, I wrote some 6 papers, only 2 papers got published, right? Like this, we encounter many scenarios. This is an answer for what and all the points needs to be considered or analyzed. Till now we saw what is a research paper and what are we getting out of it, and what are the points needs to be considered. Next answer is that how these review papers work, or how these review papers or research papers will actually help in the further research. If we get into an actual research of our own, how will it help us, right? This is also a point which needs to be considered, right? The researcher or a person who wants an entire information regarding some particular field is selected. He is not having a time to get into sit and read some 30, 40, 50 pages. Okay, he needs to get the information within some half an hour or one day, right? He will just look into the review papers, if any, published in that field, right? Your review papers are nothing but the summary of your 30 to 40 research paper. That person will search in for that review paper which will be having the information regarding some 30 to 40 research paper, right? These papers will help that person who wants the information at the earliest and not having a time to go into 30-40 papers, right? Your review papers comes into picture. Okay, there is no need to go through the entire work or many papers written by all the researchers. Instead, he can just refer to the review paper. It will obviously makes our work easier, right? This is the purpose of writing a review paper. Not only this, along with that, you will also get an idea like how all the research works are done. Obviously, you will be going through some 30 to 40 papers. You will get an idea how all these 40 papers are written, what and all the things they are considering, and what are the format, what needs to be included, what not, and every information you will just have an idea, right? This is what is the purpose or what is the benefit of writing a research paper. Like, next comes an important idea where we will be seeing how to choose the topic, right? How to the very next thing, which is an important topic, is that how to choose the area of interest or how to choose the field in which you have to write the review paper, right? There are like two elements to take into consideration. One is you have to identify the gap in the research. Like, you have to keep in mind in a way that you have to choose a particular field to bring in the research and overcome that gap. You have to address that gap which has been taken. Okay, if you encounter any gap, you need to consider that gap, right? You have to either contradict that gap, or you have to look in a reason why was that gap considered, and you have to bring in a lot of effort to connect that gap. Okay, you have to choose a topic wherein in a research field where you encounter some gap. Okay, identifying the gap in the research. This is one way of choosing an interesting topic. The second way is that you have to identify the gap in the literature survey. Either this also you can do, or you can go in this order also, identifying the gap in the literature survey. Literature survey is nothing but collection of all the papers in the area of interest you have chosen, and seeing to the author, the area they have got the research and the algorithms or the works they have considered, and in which year it was published and what was the recognition it got. Thus, the summary of this is addressed as literature survey. You can either identify the gap in the research or identify the gap in the literature survey. This is like how to choose the topic. And the next topic is, after you getting to know what a review paper is, then what and all it needs to be considered, the analyzing points, and you got to know how to choose a topic. Right after choosing a topic, the very next question is what should be considered in the review paper, right? What the body should be. One is the introduction to the topic, and the next thing is the body paragraph. Body paragraph is nothing but the detailed content and followed by the conclusion, right? Introduction will be having introducing the topic and the abstract. Body will have the actual reason why to choose the topic, the central theme, the theme of the topic, and the literature review or literature survey, right? I told you, it is a summary of all the research papers. and your interpretation and analysis on the topic you have chosen, right? Followed by the conclusion, which will have the summary and what is the future scope for the area you have selected, right? And this is the common QA we encounter. What the length of a review paper should be. It can be minimum, it should be 7 to 8 pages, and maximum 25 pages. And you have to read as many review papers you can to bring in a recognized review paper. That is one of the steps you have to consider. And how many research papers to study on an average, you have to study some 30 to 40 papers. Like how to manage these many articles, you will be reading some 30 to 35 papers, right? After reading all this, you need to like summarize all the points. You have to handle it in care. There are some online platforms which is for free called as Zotero and Mendeley. You can have a look into these platforms, and yeah, you can manage all your articles or references, right? This is an entire thing about what a review paper is, what and all the points needs to be considered, how to choose a topic, followed by body, followed by the Q&As, right? This is about today's video about a review paper. If you have any questions, comment us below. We'll be there to help you. And thank you all for giving your time for our video. Stay tuned. We will be continuing the series.